What do sunlight, Provence, and the Roman god Apollo have in common? Let's find out together. I'm Giada, Global Category Manager for Botanical Actives. A very warm welcome to this masterclass on Neuroglow, the active for glow and good mood. Neuroglow is an innovative botanical active crafted by green fractionation, and it is intended to make us look good and feel good. Well-being feeling good is a growing quest by consumers, and when it comes to it, our brain has a very straightforward way of telling us what to go for and what to run from. And this is a very basic evolutionary mechanism called neuroception. It means that there are some things that make us feel good that are good for us. Cosmetics, to name one, they are ever since a pamper. We use them to take care of ourselves and also to feel good. Today, even more than ever. According to a recent internal CMI study, 80% of US Gen Z consumers are interested in cosmetics that are able to put them in a happy mood. Sunlight is another element that is able to put us in a happy mood with that nice and healthy tan aspect. As we seem to be spending more time indoors staring at our screens, there is a growing quest for the benefits of the sun, for that very special sensation of feeling and looking healthy and happy. Throughout the history of mankind, the sun has always represented the measure, the rhythm, and also a source of light and life. The health properties of sun were already witnessed by Hippocrates. And for the ancient Greeks and Romans, Apollo's chariot used to cross the sky every day, bringing sunlight to our planet. Apollo was not only worshipped as the god of the sun, he was also worshipped as the god of medicine and healing, indeed merging sun and health in just one deity. You may wonder, what does all this have to do with Neuroglow? Well, Neuroglow represents the bright side of the sun, a little bit like Apollo. Being in the sun makes people feel good. It boosts the production of endorphins that are linked to good mood and well-being. And it also initiates the production of vitamin D, which is linked to energy and immune function, aside, of course, of bone health. It was even observed that when a person's workplace is exposed to sunlight, it increases job satisfaction. Now, let's imagine that there is a plant that contains active molecules that are able to mimic all the benefits of the sun. Let's talk about this with Nicolas, head of agronomy, who has led a years-lasting project on a very special plant. Hello, Nicolas. It's good to see you here.
Hello, Giada.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about this plant and its sourcing? Please, what plant is this to start with?
Yeah, sure, Giada. The name of the plant is Persicaria tinctoria, and it's named after the shape of its leaves, the peach tree leaves, basically. And tinctoria, that means that the plant is used as a dyeing plant. And you can also find a synonym, which is Polygonum tinctorium.
Oh, I see.
And the plant was initially discovered in the paddy rice field in Asia, and as a weed, growing together with the rice. And it was introduced in Europe in the 19th century.
And where do we source the plant? Where have we established our supply chain?
Yeah, good question, Giada. Actually, for this very new active beauty ingredient, we had to design the supply chain from scratch and to order and to organize the different steps from A to Z. And that was done in Provence. That means that we start with selecting the best variety for the use of our ingredients. Then we take these seeds of this specific variety into a nursery to grow and propagate the plantlet. That is then transferred into the field to be grown and then harvested and then processed. And everything happened in a perimeter around about 80 kilometers around Avignon in the southeast of France. What is specific also is this time of harvest during summer, which is really a particular time of the year, where every day in the coolest hour, the very fresh plants and aerial part, leaves, are harvested every day and processed then in the workshop very closely and nearby to the field.
I see. And what else is so special about the supply chain?
Yeah, actually, it's a really unique supply chain, and we have built up there a dedicated exclusive supply for active beauty ingredient for Givaudan. And the ingredient is today 100% traceable, coming from a well-identified field where we are controlling the variety that we are planting there and the very best strains and genetics that we are using for this ingredient. Then we are also controlling every kind of practices that is implemented at field level. That means that the watering, the fertilization, it's all done according to the specific need of the plant. We also prevent any kind of disease or damage from the plant with alternative practice. So in this way, we are reducing the use of any kind of input, and we are just stay close to the need of the plants. And then when it comes to the harvest, it is done with the exact quantity of leaves. We do need to do the process then in the workshop every morning or every night according to the organization, so that we can have really in very few hours the material to be processed in the workshop according to what we are looking for.
That sounds really unique.
Yeah.
And how long did it take to set up such an unprecedented supply chain starting from scratch?
You know, from ideation to full speed implementation, it took 10 years. So indigo plant is annual plants, and we are just restarting again the same cycle year after year. But what we do have to put in place is really the stage of field trials, selecting the best variety season after season. Build up also a trustful relationship with the partner, the farmers, and all the stakeholders involved, and also manage the unexpected, because you know, with the botanical, we need also to leverage and mitigate the different seasonal conditions. So at the end of the day, putting this all together, we managed to get this very high quality and premium quality of plants that is optimized for its bioactive content, that we can then use in our ingredients.
Yeah. So thank you, Nicolas, for having shared this journey and your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you, Jada.
I am very glad to welcome Benedicte, Head of Green Fractionation, here with us. Hello, Benedicte.
Hello, Jada.
Welcome. So, can you please tell us a little bit more about these bioactive molecules that are present in the indigo plant?
Yes, for sure, Jada, with pleasure. You know that I really like explain in details what happens in the plants.
I know.
And you know, in fact, when you are in the field, you can naturally observe that the leaves can turn blue. And it can be explained by insect attack or climatic condition, because the leaves could be damaged by these kind of things, you know. And if we go deeper in the cells of these leaves, there is anticon, which is a precursor molecule, I would say, that is able to react through oxygenation and through hydrolyzation to give a main compound called indigotine that is blue, so they can expect the blue aspect of the leaves, you know. And it also leads to another constituent called indirubin that is red. And if you go in the physiology and the plant of the cells, indicon and the enzymes are located in distinct leaf cells department, okay? So they are not able to interact naturally in the plant. But when a leaf suffers from an injury, as I previously explained, a distraction could take place naturally.
I see. So we have indigotine and indirubin. And what are the crucial steps to extract these two molecules?
I will want to go deeper in the extraction process. And as previously mentioned by Nicolas, we use the fresh leaves. So due to the fact that we use a fresh biomass, we need to be close to the field for the transformation aspects, you know, to ensure the quality. And for that, just after the harvest, and maximum 6 hours, we need to process the plant and to extract the biomass with hot water.
Okay.
During these steps, we extract indican and the enzymes that I previously explained to you. And with this reaction, we are able to produce an extract, okay? The extract becomes blue with the time. After several times, we are able to filtrate and to remove the biomass, okay? And we obtain like a blue precipitate, very rich, very highly colored in blue. And the next step will be to perform a filtration, a drying step and a sieving step. And at the end, we obtain the Indigo Naturalis blue powder.
So from this first step, we obtain a very intense blue powder, but the process actually has a second step to get us Neuroglow, right?
Right, Jada. And in fact, the second step is very focused on the andirubin molecule, the red one. So the next step is really to extract selectively this molecule, the andirubin, and to remove indigotin. So we are able to extract andirubin, to concentrate it, and then to stabilize it with moringa oil and a rosemary extract enriched in carnosic acid. So to sum up, from the indigo perch plant, we obtain the Indigo Naturalis blue powder, and at the end, we design a beautiful pink oil active ingredient called Neuroglow. I would like to say that this is the magic of the plant and the green power of the fractionation platform.
Indeed. So, Benedicta, can we say that this is a really optimized, specific, and fully natural botanical ingredient?
Of course, Jada. And I would like to be much more precise, because Neuroglow is 100% of natural origin according the ISO 16128 guidelines. We can say also that it's vegan, Cosmos approved, and China compliant. And this is a real innovation for the R&D of Active Beauty, because we filed a patent pending application that covers the product design and also the efficacy.
Thank you. So let's move forward in this masterclass on Neuroglow by looking at its efficacy. I am here with Morgane. Hello, Morgane.
Hi, Jada.
You are Biological Evaluation Project Manager and worked on Neuroglow, right?
Yes.
Neuroglow has to do with the sun. So on a scientific standpoint, how would you define sunlight for us?
Yes, sun is a paradoxal actor for us. It has negative effects when it is excessive, but it has also positive effects. This is why sun is primordial for health and well-being. Yeah. And beyond well-being, the main activity of the sun in the skin is to stimulate the synthesis of melanin. And melanin is our inner and natural self-defense against UV radiation by absorbing them. And in a context where it is not always easy to put all these elements in perspective, that's why we designed Neuroglow, which will be the perfect ally for the skin and also for an healthier tanning, taking all the good from the sun.
Awesome. So we are inspired by the good from the sun. What are the benefits that we have demonstrated for Neuroglow?
Neuroglow is mimicking the sun positive effects by stimulating the melanin synthesis by 66%, and when it is combined to a limited sun exposition, the effect rises up to 126% in skin explants.
That is a lot.
Yes, it is.
And how about when we use an SPF together with Neuroglow?
It is a good question, because today it is a common knowledge that we cannot expose ourselves without sun protection.
Yeah.
That is why during the biological evaluation of Neuroglow, we took this fact into account. So we formulated Neuroglow into a sunscreen formula and we pre-treated the skin explants. Then we expose it to UV and we confirmed that Neuroglow acts independently from the sun and it stimulated the synthesis of melanin by 86%.
That is a lot too. And indeed, SPF is an important factor because sunlight may also have detrimental effects on the skin and it can induce inflammation. So are there any other mechanisms of protection besides the synthesis of melanin that you have seen?
And we demonstrated in vitro models mimicking sunburn with heat stress, UVB stress, but also chemical stress that Neuroglow protected the skin by reducing the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines up to 90%.
90%? That is awesome.
It is a wonderful soothing ingredient also.
Besides inflammation, excessive sunlight exposure may also trigger DNA damage. So can Neuroglow help also here?
Of course, as explained before, UV have negative effects, and among the whole spectra of light, some UV radiation are a major inducer of DNA damages.
Yeah.
But melanin synthesis, as being the principal barrier against the UV radiation, Neuroglow, by stimulating this synthesis, will protect the skin. To investigate this phenomenon, we use the immunostaining of cyclobutyl pyrimidine dimers, which is a marker of DNA damages when the skin is exposed to the sun, and we pretreated skin explants with Neuroglow. And after various exposition to limited exposure of the sun, we confirm that thanks to this melanin synthesis, Neuroglow protected the skin by reducing by 56% the formation of these dimers.
On the other side, there's also good qualities from the sun that are linked to the production of vitamin D. How about Neuroglow?
In fact, vitamin D is a key molecule in a general manner that will support health, and its production is inversely correlated to immune suppression and tiredness, but also well-being. And during summer, there is a peak of production that is correlated to well-being and a general positive state of mind. That is why people are looking for it. But oppositely, when the fall is coming, the people and population in general manner will suffer of what we called winter blue. Interestingly, this vitamin D cannot be synthesized by the body itself without exogenous intake. This is why we have to ingest it as a supplement during winter. So Neuroglow, as a perfect sun-mimicking ingredient, will help the production of this vitamin D3 in presence of UV by a stimulation of 345% in skin explants.
345%?
Yes,
Wow. That's stunning.
That is big.
Besides the well-being properties of vitamin D, the sun is also known to be linked to another well-being marker, which is beta endorphins. And how about Neuroglow here?
In a matter of fact, beta endorphin and melanin are coming from the same biological pathway, from the propeptide POMC. This is why we investigated this endpoint. So in a in vitro model of keratinocytes, we stimulated the beta endorphin production by 43% in presence of Neuroglow, but also we stimulated the synthesis of oxytocin, an hormone of bonding and affection, by 229% in keratinocytes.
So Neuroglow has stimulated vitamin D, beta endorphins, and also oxytocin, which is the molecule of love.
Correct.
Wow, that's amazing. Back to Morgan to understand how all this translates into benefits for consumers. So what happens if we apply a cream containing Neuroglow? Do we have clinical data?
In one sentence, we can say that Neuroglow has shown tan-enhancing properties combined to sun exposition. A panel of 22 volunteers has applied Neuroglow formulated in a formula at 0.8% during 1 week, and then they have been submitted to 0.8 med, which is a non-irritant UV dose to mimic daily light exposition.
So a limited quantity of sun exposure.
Yes. And then we measure the color of the skin with two parameters, the L parameter and ITA parameter. And after the application of Neuroglow, we demonstrated that there was a 2.5-fold difference in comparison to placebo for the ITA parameter, and the L parameters was 3 times lower, and both indicating that the skin tone was darker. To summarize, in 7 days, 76% of volunteers shifted to a darker phototype. And interestingly, we identify volunteers who reach an ITA correlated to a phototype 4.
So in just 7 days, a darker phototype, how can we visualize these two parameters, this L and this ITA parameters? Is there a way?
Yes, so for this clinical efficacy, we work on the back area. That's why we use an IA generating a face to visualize how these parameters, the L parameter and ITA parameter, look like in real life and what this variation means. Mm-hmm. So the algorithm has visually represented the color measured at day 0, day 5, day 7. And as you can see, the color evolved between 7 days.
Wow, we can really see that it is much darker, so it turns faster. And in just 7 days. That is amazing. So thank you very much, Morgane, for having shared all this data with us and for having participated to this masterclass. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you too, Giada. It was a pleasure.
Now we have learned that there are two modes of action that can be described for Neuroglow. The first one is a sun-mimicking action, preparing our skin for sun exposure and already anticipating the beneficial effects of the sun. A second scenario is with sun exposure, where Neuroglow not only boosts the benefits of the sun, but it also preserves our skin from inflammation and well-being. So these two complementary mechanisms help us enjoy a healthy and safe tan, triggering well-being. So we have seen that Neuroglow makes us look good. How about the feel-good part? We enrolled a panel of 24 volunteers that were selected for being winter blues persons, meaning sad and gloomy, especially during fall and winter months due to lack of sunlight. They were required to use a Neuroglow facial cream containing 1.2% of active for 4 weeks, and we used Moodpick to evaluate the emotional benefit. So Moodpick is a general tool for the assessment of the emotional status of the persons, and here's how it works. Volunteers were shown some images and they were required to score how strongly they resonated with those images that were suggestive of certain emotions. After 4 weeks, we have observed a decrease in the sense of tiredness by 26% versus the placebo. And this may very well be linked to the vitamin D boost that we have observed and that Morgane has described. Similarly, we have observed an increase in the sense of affection, emotions by the volunteers by 34% still versus the placebo. And this may well be linked to the boost in oxytocin that we have observed. We also looked at the CESD questionnaire, which is one of the most used tools to detect the blues status and sadness in the general population. The results we observed after 4 weeks is an improvement in general well-being as a global score by 23%, and actually 81% of the volunteers reported a positive effect. This is also potentially linked to the observation of beta endorphins, which is a well-being marker that we have observed being boosted by Neuroglow. And before ending this masterclass, let me share that Neuroglow is the hero ingredient of an amazing S3D concept, Blissful Vibes, which is a facial and body cream to energize your body and lift your soul. I can't wait to try it and for you to try it. So we have seen that Neuroglow represents the bright side of the sun. It checks all the cases for the development of an innovative botanical ingredient in terms of naturality and traceability and agronomy expertise. And it also responds to the quest of looking good and feeling good. Looking good thanks to the boosting of melanin, and feeling good thanks to the boosting of vitamin D, beta endorphin and oxytocin.